Good evening, everyone. Tonight's going to be fun. We also have some business to take care of, but I want to let everybody know we are streaming live on YouTube on the City of Madison's YouTube channel, so feel free to cheer and make tons of noise as we get into the celebration of the evening. We'll start first by standing and reciting the Lord's Prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. So remove your hats, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, roll call, please.
Kevin All. Here. Reach.
Here.
Lucy Dattilo.
Here.
Rampy.
Here.
Chatham. Here. Bartlett.
Here.
Dan Dattilo.
Here.
Thank you. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize some guests who are in the audience today. Patrick Morrison, who is our Assistant Athletic Director at Madison High School. State Rep Zach Payne is on his way. I have not seen him in the audience yet, but he will be here. Mr. Harold Lakeman, who is a former Parks Director here for the City of Madison, as well as a legend in his own right, is in our audience today. Tom Solomon, past chair for the Madison Port Authority. So we'll welcome everybody tonight, as well as welcome to the families of Kelsey, Bilz, Schnaitter, and Don McCauley. So we're anxious to get started, but we do have a little bit of business to take care of. Let's start first with the reading of the minutes, approval of the minutes. Council, any additions, modifications to the minutes from the last meeting? Yeah, March the 2nd.
I move to approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Also remember, mic up if you don't mind, so that we can catch all your audio for the video that's being streamed live. First order of business is actually a public hearing. This is involving an alley vacation request from the Heritage Trail Conservancy. So I'd like to recess the regular council meeting and call to order the public hearing. And I would ask everybody in the audience, if you've not had an opportunity to sign the sign-in sheets that have been circulating with regard to your attendance at this public hearing, please do so. And I'd invite Mr. Green up here representing the Heritage Trail Conservancy. And I'll also ask for guidance from our much younger and better looking council tonight, Mr. Rob Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Madam President and members of City Council, for the privilege of being able to bring the request before you to vacate two alleys that are located in Heritage Park. Two alleys which I have no idea in the world why they're there. And I suspect that you may be wondering the same thing if you looked over where the alleys are. In fact, these alleys were so unknown by the previous owners of the land that two buildings were partially built on the northern alley. And this one right, let's see where my, again, I'm not sure it's showing up on that. But it was part on the, and the second alley on towards the river is populated with large trees, and I've been mowing that alley for several years now. Only after purchasing this parcel and having it surveyed did these alleys come to life again. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, near where I grew up, they refer to alleys such as these as paper alleys, meaning that when they platted the city back in the early 1800s, they were drawn in but never utilized as a traditional alley. I suspect that was the case with these alleys. They are, I believe, paper alleys. As council knows well, oftentimes when alleys are asked to be vacated, it can be controversial because there's a thought that public right-of-way being forfeited is to somebody, individuals, personal gain or it's going to be an inconvenience to Madison residents down the road. That is certainly not the case here. Heritage Park has been created, and we now own about 23 acres in downtown Madison, which is just, I can't believe it to this day. But it has been created for the people of Madison for public green space. And we are simply asking for the vacations to consolidate the park into one uninterrupted green space for public use. I'd like to thank Mayor Courtney and City Attorney Joe Jenner for helping me to move this process along so expeditiously, so today we can bring this proposal before you for consideration. Let me add that these vacations are something I've had on my to-do list for a number of years. What got me motivated to ask for these vacations now is our purchase of the last remaining parcel of Heritage Park on November 17th, which is outlined in blue on the map. And we're really excited about it. Our footprint is complete now and on the riverfront, and we have some exciting visions for how we're going to implement park development there. And I just would ask council if they have any questions about what we're about with these vacations.
We would refer to that as an improved alley rather than a paper alley. And it looks like it needs to be vacated to me.
We would agree with that. As through our due process, though.
Thank you, council. Is there anybody here in the audience from the public who would like to comment during this public hearing with regards to the proposed vacation of these two alleys? For or remonstrating against? Has everybody had an opportunity to sign the sign-in sheet for attendance at the public hearing? We'll make sure that gets around. No questions for Mr. Green? Okay, thank you. We will adjourn the public hearing now and move on to the rest of our agenda. Tonight, Tyson, I didn't see you back there, but I also want to introduce Tyson Skinner. Tyson, if you could come up, please. Tyson is going to introduce Kelsey and our first recipient of a proclamation honoring her accomplishments in the sport of wrestling. But a little bit about Tyson first, because, and I'm sure he didn't know I was going to say this, but Tyson is the winningest wrestling coach in high school history. He has coached 25 years, 12 of those have been as Madison's head coach, and has a career record of 423, 344. And at Madison, his record is 241 and 126. He has 24 sectional champions, 12 regional champs, 54 semi-state qualifiers, 6 state qualifiers, 2 state placers, team regional championship, and as we'll learn tonight, Kelsey Bilz as Madison's state champion. Tyson?
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
I get the honor of introducing a young lady that I met several years ago in our junior high program. Very spunky would be the best word I could come up with her when I first met her in junior high. As a father of a female that wrestles, women's wrestling and the advancement of women's wrestling, and hopefully soon the recognition by the IHSA to have a full-fledging league across the whole state for women's wrestling has been something that I've been dear to my heart. And so with Kelsey really putting in the work in the men's world of wrestling, she's accomplished some really great things that is kind of unheard of in our sport, except for a few other people. She became the 3rd female wrestler in the history of Indiana wrestling to accomplish 100 wins in men's wrestling. The other 2 that have accomplished that are now wrestling for Team USA and competing for us in the Olympics. So that kind of shows you where she stands in the echelon of women's wrestling in Indiana. Also, she became the 3rd female ever to qualify for semi-state for boys wrestling. And this year, along with her 2 other state placements that she has done in our Coaches Association, championship, she became Madison's first ever wrestling state champion. So, like I said, Kelsey is one of those girls and one of those athletes that is one of the hardest workers in the room, one of the last ones to leave, except for one tournament. She's always one of the first ones to show up to the mat room. She'll never forget that.
Can we invite Kelsey up
Yeah.
here, because we're also going to
Yeah.
play a little video of her. Kelsey, welcome to the City Madison Council meeting.
Yep, come on.
All these great things are being said by you.
Yeah, it's been a great honor to coach this young lady. So without further ado, Kelsey Bilz.
Hi, Kelsey. Let me play a little video, and I'm afraid of you. After watching this video,
Yeah, this is up at our regional qualifier for girls wrestling.
I think that was her mom declaring a pin in like 29 seconds.
I'm glad we had to edit out some of those videos. I think the mom gets very glad.
Well, I think it's fantastic. Now I'd like to read this proclamation in Kelsey's honor here. If your parents want to come up, that's fine too. It's really up to you.
Come on, guys.
This is the fun part of my job, recognizing all the accomplishments that go on around our community. All right. Whereas Madison is home to several outstanding athletes, and whereas Kelsey Bilz is a senior at Madison Consolidated High School, and Kelsey is a member of the high school wrestling team who has achieved Indiana state placement 3 times since joining the sport. And in February 2021, Kelsey upset the top-ranked wrestler in the state to become the 2021 Indiana High School Girls Wrestling State Champion. And whereas in March 2021, Kelsey became the 3rd female wrestler in state history to achieve 100 career wins in boys wrestling, and Kelsey became just the 3rd female wrestler in the state's history to qualify for the boys semi-state, with only 2 other qualifiers going on to wrestle for Team USA. Kelsey's stellar senior season is one that will be remembered for years, and she has capped off the year by earning the Madison Courier's Wrestler of the Year award with 77 takedowns, 45 pins, and 119 career wins. And Kelsey, her coaches, staff, and teammates at Madison Consolidated High School should be commended for such a successful season. Therefore, I, Bob G. Courtney, Mayor of the City of Madison, Indiana, do hereby recognize, honor, and congratulate Kelsey Bilz on a successful wrestling season, and thank you for representing our community well in the state spotlight. On behalf of all the citizens of Madison, I wish you the best in your wrestling career as you prepare to join the Tigers wrestling team at Campbellsville University. So congratulations. Feel free to make your remarks if you like to, Kelsey. So
I want to thank Tyson for being one of the best coaches I've ever had.
I'll pay you later.
He was the first person to ref me on my very first match. And he's just watched me grow, and I'm just so thankful that he was my coach.
very good. Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome up to the podium State Representative Zach Payne, who is going to bestow an honor on 2 members of the 1950 Indiana State basketball champions, Schnaitter and McCauley. And while he's coming to the podium, I'd like to take everybody back in time to 1950.
Hand off the server. And over to Madison. Up and through. 65-42. Bowman is working it down for Lafayette. Across to Parker. A high one is his third trip to the state tournament. Third time was the charm. This is an honor that every Indiana high school coach and team hopes someday to achieve. Each year, the Indiana High School Athletic Association presents awards to the two top teams. R.B. Miller, president of the Board of Control, presents the championship team trophy to Madison's co-captain, Schnaitter and server. Every member of the Madison team is lined up now, waiting to receive a coveted gold ring from IHSAA Board of Control member Otto Albright.
Number 14 there looks very familiar.
Lafayette's co-captains Bob Pierce and Denny Blythe with their runner-up team trophy. S.M. Caldwell, member of the Board of Control, made the presentation. H.C. Benedict, another member of the IHSAA Board of Control, passes out the silver runner-up rings to the Lafayette team.
How fantastic was that? I'd like to invite the families of both Mr. McCauley and Mr. Schnaitter up to the podium, and while Zach prepares to bestow a resolution from the House on them. And while they're coming to the podium, I'd like to just read a couple of remarks here, which is, coached by Ray Eddy, the 1950 Cubs state champion team included Spence Schnaitter, Don McCauley, Stan Weber, the only surviving member currently, Buddy Bunton, Morris Lorenz, Ted Server, Ed Cheatham, John Werby, Dave Turner, Wayne Ritchie, and Charles Brown. Long before there was class basketball, and after being runners-up in 1949, they came back the following year to win state. Schnaitter and McCauley both led successful careers beyond high school basketball, so we'll hear tonight about their recognition. So I'll turn it over to Representative Payne. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you to the City Council and to Mayor Courtney for having me to present this resolution. I appreciate you working with me to get this done. House resolutions are, they're a big deal. They're reserved for Hoosiers who have made significant positive contributions to Indiana, and I'm proud that this is my first resolution as a new legislator. So I'll just start from the top here. They did a lot, so the resolution's pretty long. Whereas Indiana basketball is a much-loved institution rooted in the hearts and minds of Hoosiers, young and old. Whereas residents in Madison, Indiana, and the greater community of basketball fans remember the lives of Mr. Donald McCauley and Mr. Spencer Schnaitter, and celebrate their 1950 IHSAA state basketball final championship win. Whereas Mr. McCauley and Mr. Schnaitter passed away in January of 2021 at the ages of 87 and 88, respectively. Whereas McCauley, guard, and Schnaider, center, started for the historic high school Cubs basketball team coached by Ray Eddy. Whereas the Madison Cubs played the Marion Giants in the Butler Fieldhouse in Indianapolis to more than 15,000 basketball fans from across the Hoosier state. Whereas the Cubs' 1950 state tourney was hotly contested and culminated in a 50-49 Madison victory in the final seconds of the game. Whereas the Cubs won the championship as notable underdogs that played their season with balanced teamwork, determination, and athleticism. Where Mr. McCauley and Mr. Schnaitter enjoyed long and successful careers upon graduating from Madison High School. Whereas Mr. McCauley went on to marry Caroline Lynch, his wife of 63 years, and the two had 2 daughters and 2 sons. Whereas Mr. McCauley served in the United States Army and became a successful businessman serving his community in many roles, including president of Mike Federal Savings and Loan Association, president of Home Federal, president of First Federal Savings and Loan Association in Peru, Indiana, president Peru Chamber of Commerce, president Peru Miami County Economic Development Corporation, and board member of United Way. Whereas Mr. Schnaitter went on to Yale University, where he graduated as an accomplished athlete in basketball, including MVP as a junior and team captain as a senior. Mr. Schnaitter married Laura Ann Mill in 1954, and the two had 3 sons and 2 daughters. Whereas Mr. Schnaitter served in the United States Army before he returned to Indiana and graduated from Indiana University Law School, Bloomington in 1959. Whereas Mr. Schnaitter and his family moved to Madison, where he practiced law for more than 60 years and was active in his community, serving as a 5-term state representative in the General Assembly, City Attorney of Madison, and County Attorney of Jefferson County. Whereas Mr. McCauley and Mr. Schnaitter shared a deep love of basketball and athletics, and whereas Mr. McCauley and Mr. Schnaitter are celebrated Hoosiers who will be remembered fondly by friends, family, and colleagues for their many contributions to the community. Therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the General Assembly in the state of Indiana. Section 1, that the Indiana House of Representatives celebrates and remembers the life of Mr. Donald McCauley for his contributions in his community in the state of Indiana. Section 2, that the Indiana House of Representatives celebrates and remembers the life of Mr. Spencer Schnaitter for his contributions in his community in the state of Indiana. Section 3, that the principal clerk of the House of Representatives shall submit copies of this resolution to the office of State Representative Zach Payne for distribution. I don't know if we should shake hands and respond to that.
If there's any family members who'd like to make any comments, feel free. And Representative Payne, thank you so much, and we're honored that this is your first resolution you're making as a new state representative.
I do have copies of the resolution for family.
And I can't tell you what it means to have you all here tonight, and also what the 1950s Cubs has meant to the city of Madison, and the accomplishments that they've not only had on the court, but in our communities as well. So I think it's just fantastic that we have an opportunity to be here, and it's unfortunate that we're here under these circumstances. And you know, Matt and I were talking earlier today that there's only one surviving member of that Cubs team left, and since 2016, I think we've lost probably 4 members. So it's great to be able to honor them and recognize the contributions they've made so long ago that continues today. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you to Zach so much for the resolution, and the city council and the mayor for inviting us here. It's wonderful. And seeing Dad not playing on the floor in those final seconds, I seem to recall that he had fouled out. And so it was fun to see him after the game. And also, he would want to correct the sportscaster. It's Schnaitter, not Schnaitter. Thank you so much.
Well, I just want to share a little bit of my own personal history here, and also in talking with Mr. Lakeman today. You know, Mr. Schnaitter, Spencer Schnaitter, you know, had remarkable contributions to our community as a state legislator, and was also very instrumental in the city acquiring the property on the hilltop that became Rucker Sports Complex. So we had many, many contributions that obviously have lasted generations, but not too many people know this, but neighbors that live across the street from Spence. And but in my adult life I have, but in growing up downtown on Walnut Street, there were usually about 4 places we would hang out. If we weren't at the playground at Eggleston, we were at the boys club. And if we weren't at the boys club, we were either in the backyards of the Smith's house on Jefferson Street playing basketball, or in the backyard of the McCauley's house playing basketball. And both of those families have just been fantastic, you know, stewards of the kids in our community, and their legacy lives on. So being in Madison all my entire life, you know, these are just giants that we strive to achieve the same things that they've achieved and contribute to our community. So thank you guys for coming back to Madison, sharing tonight with us. Thank you, Representative Payne. Thank you to all the families, and obviously thank you to the giants of basketball here from Madison. So, good job. Continuing on, I'd like to invite Chief Wallace up to the podium as well for recognition of Officer Norman.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. As you recall, last week, or 2 weeks ago, I was here with two of Madison's finest to reward them for their jobs well done. Unfortunately, Officer Nolan was unable to attend due to COVID protocols, so we do have him here tonight, and I would like to ask Officer Nolan if he'd like to step forward, and his wife, Dr. John. On January 14, 2021, Madison Police and KDH EMS responded to a residence in the 600 block of Jefferson Street, reference an overdose victim. Patrolman Josh Nolan was the first to arrive on scene and found a male on the floor of the residence. The young victim, in his mid-20s, was found unresponsive and not breathing. Officer Nolan immediately began life-saving measures by initiating CPR and continued to do so until the victim was turned over to KDH EMS. As a result of Officer Nolan's heroic actions, the victim survived. On behalf of the grateful citizens of Madison, Indiana, and very proud chief, it's my honor to present Madison Police Patrolman Josh Nolan with the life-saving Medal of Honor. Thank you. As you recall, we actually had video at our last meeting. A similar situation happened on February 3rd, in which Officer Nolan and Officer Perry found themselves in the same circumstances of an unresponsive individual, the victim of an overdose. And as you guys saw in that video, they performed CPR and provided some life-saving medication that was able to bring that young man back, and he survived as well. So I'd like to recognize Officer Nolan for that February 3rd night as well, and present him with his second. Actually, it's going to be his third life-saving Medal of Honor. I was just telling him we're going to have to expand that chest and work it out a little bit. He's poor rider, but Josh is one of many like we have on our department. They just go out every night and do their job to the best of their ability. They don't seek out these awards. I proudly seek them out to bring them in here to recognize them for what they do. As this council saw 2 weeks ago in that video, it's not very pleasant. It's not a very nice thing to have to do, but these guys do it professionally. As you saw, Josh has that great demeanor, very calm, and I couldn't be more proud of these guys. So I would like to award him that second medal of life saving for his February 3rd, 2021. Thank you. Council, and I was going to tell Kelsey back here, although she may be a few years young, we're seeking applications. So I got my eye on you, young lady. Thank you.
Officer Nolan, thank you very much, too, for your service to our community. We're very proud of you and very proud of the Madison Police Department. I'd also like to invite Tom Solomon, who is the past chair of the Madison Port Authority, to address the council in the mayor's office and the community today. Tom, welcome.
Thank you. This is a strange place for me to be, because I'm Miss Spence. 1978, Penn Central made their wise decision to abandon the railroad. At that time, a small country attorney by the name of Schnaitter defeated 3 Philadelphia big educated lawyers, and Madison became the owner of the railroad. Spence began his career with the railroad at that time, and that was 1978, and until his passing, he was still an active member of the railroad. He managed, and this I think is a very unique trait, he managed to survive 7 different administrations. Both Republican and Democrat, and if you knew Spence, you knew he was a very strong Democrat. But he had an ability to do things that were good for the railroad. The railroad still continues to operate as it has in the past and has been in the process of upgrading. That's basically due to the efforts of the board. There are some members of the board here tonight. I'd like for them to stand up if they would. Bill Barnes, Mindy McGee, and Mindy's our newest member to the board, joining us this year. The operation team that for the railroad is Kathy Hale, our CEO, Casey Good, who is our Director of Railroad Services, and Adam Robillard, who is the Superintendent of Operations. These folks are the ones that make the day-to-day decisions that keep our railroad going and servicing our customers. Finally and lastly, I'd like to issue an invitation to the members of the council to come out and see what this business is that we have in running our railroad. And I think you would find it entertaining as well as educational to find out what the railroad does and how it's a part of the city of Madison. Thank you very much.
Tom, thank you very much, too. Thank you. And thank you to all the members of the Madison Railroad and Port Authority who were here, the board members who were here, and staff too, because it is one of our legacy items that we have. In Madison, is for a small community, we have tremendous assets and amenities that not many communities of our size really have. And so we're very, very proud of the railroad too. So thank you. Is there anybody else here in the audience who would like to address the mayor's office or city council with regard to any of these proclamations and resolutions we had tonight? Thank everybody for attending tonight. It's great to see people out, and we'll move forward with our agenda, and I'll turn it over to our attorney, Mr. Barlow, with regard to our first reading of the ordinance and 3 resolutions and our clerk.
Okay, we're going to have, first of all, you have ordinance number 2021-3, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, vacating certain alleys in the City of Madison, Indiana. Whereas petitioner Heritage Trail Conservancy, Inc. owns certain real estate located in the City of Madison, Jefferson County, Indiana, and more particularly described in the warranty deed recorded as instrument number 2012-05903 and attached hereto as Exhibit A. Whereas there are 2 12-foot wide alleys noted on the original plat of the petitioner's above referenced real property. Said alleys have never been developed or used. No need exists for said alleys, and the vacation of the same would in no way adversely affect the City of Madison, Indiana. Whereas petitioner has proposed that the City of Madison vacate the following alleys. 2 12-foot wide platted alleyways identified as part of the parcel, and I'll omit the rest of that description. Whereas the Board of Public Works and Safety of City at its regular meeting held on February 16, 2021, pursuant to a request by petitioner, took official action recommending the vacation of said alleys to the extent set forth above. And whereas platted alleys may be vacated within a municipality in accordance with Indiana Code 36-7-3-12, and whereas pursuant to IC 36-7-3-12 concerning the vacation of public ways, required notice of hearing before the Common Council has been given pursuant to IC 5-3-1-2 by the advertisement of a notice of hearing by publication in the Madison Courier, a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Madison, which notice and proof of publication are both on file in the office of the clerk treasurer of said city. And whereas all adjacent landowners have been notified of said vacation pursuant to IC 36-7-3-12. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, that Section 1, pursuant to the recommendation by the Board of Public Works and Safety, adopted at its regular meeting on February 16, 2021, the Common Council hereby adopts an ordinance vacating the above described alleys. Section 2, that the following alleys are now and hereby vacated as public alleys. A, 2 12-foot wide platted public alleyways identified as parcel 3913.123.001.000-007 and instrument number 2012-05903, recorded December 31, 2012 in the Recorder's Office of Jefferson County, Indiana. Said alleyways run east and west and are located west of Craigmont Street. See Exhibit B attached here too. Section 3, the City of Madison hereby reserves for its benefit or the benefit of Vectren Energy or any private utility which may presently have utilities located on the above described alleys, an easement for public or private utilities located on the above described alleys, and for maintenance, replacement, improvement, and repair thereof. The City of Madison further reserves for its benefit or the benefit of any private utility authorized by the City of Madison an easement allowing future underground utilities to be installed, maintained, repaired, and replaced on said vacated alleys. Section 4, the clerk treasurer of the City of Madison, upon the final adoption of this ordinance and signature by the mayor, shall cause a certified copy of this vacation ordinance to be entered upon the transfer records in the office of the auditor of Jefferson County, Indiana, and further recorded in the deed records in the office of the recorder of Jefferson County, Indiana. Section 5, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately from and after its passage, enrollment, and signature by the mayor. The foregoing ordinance was passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, at its regular meeting held on the blank day of blank 2021, presented by Council President, the Mayor, and Council Sponsor, and attested by Rick Berry, Clerk Treasurer. And there was attached to it as an exhibit a copy of the warranty deed, and I believe also a copy of the map.
Thank you, Council. That's just first reading, so we'll move on to the resolutions.
Okay, Resolution 2021. A resolution of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, approving the issuance of federal, state, or local grant funding. Whereas the State Board of Accounts conducted an audit for the years 2014 to 2017. Whereas at the conclusion of the audit, the State Board of Accounts recommended that all grants applied for and to be received by the city be first reviewed and be subject to the approval of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, before said grant is distributed. Whereas the city has applied for a private historic preservation education grant. Whereas said grant is for $2,500 with a dollar for dollar or in-kind match. Monies will be used for a preservation quest for preservation education. This will provide information, photos, and possibly virtual tours of area historic sites in Madison. The goal is to help the community better understand preservation. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the above grant funding be approved. Passed on the blank day of March 2021 by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, and appropriate signatures.
So we have tonight Alyssa Foltz, who is our grant writer here, for full-time grant writer, which has been an objective of our administration, and she's happy to answer any questions and give additional description with regards to the various different resolution grant applications tonight. Welcome, Alyssa.
I would also like to just remind council, even though we have discussed these grants at the last meeting, the State Board of Accounts does require that we have these grants okayed in resolution form, so that when they go to our records, we have something on record. So that's why we're presenting these tonight in resolution form.
Are there any questions regarding it? I spoke really quickly at the last meeting, so I'm not sure if it was understood, but I can definitely go into more detail if need be.
Okay. Any questions from the audience on this resolution? Do a roll call then, I guess, or just a yea or nay?
Do a yea or
Yea
nay.
or- Okay.
You do motion second first.
We'll probably do that. Let's not skip a step. Sorry, Rick. A parliamentarian. That's a resolution. Yes. So we'll entertain a motion and a second for resolution 20-2.
2020.
Wow.
2020-2021.
Yep.
I move that we approve the resolution as written.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Thank you.
We'll move on to Resolution 21-2021, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, approving the issuance of federal, state, or local grant funding. Whereas the State Board of Accounts conducted an audit for the years 2014 to 2027. Whereas at the conclusion of the audit, the State Board of Accounts recommended that all grants applied for and to be received by the city be first reviewed and be subject to the approval of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, before said grant is distributed. Whereas the city has applied for the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Fund for Historic Interior. Whereas this grant is a private grant which awards $15,000 with no match required by the city. The city does plan on spending up to $31,500 on this project, which is budgeted on renovation of the upstairs of City Hall into usable space. The award amount will be used for painting, dry plaster, doors, trims, and sealing. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the above grant funding be approved. Duly passed this blank day of March 2021 by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, with standard signatures.
Yeah, so this grant's just going to do the basis of what we're doing for the renovations here at City Hall, but we'll be applying for a larger one to do the larger renovations, such as like putting in the elevator and things of that nature. So, any questions with that one?
We have a lot of unusable space right now that's or inaccessible space on the second floor, and so this grant will help offset those costs if we receive it.
Is the plan to eventually do the third floor as well, or?
I believe so.
One floor at a time, Council.
I mean, we would love that. I was just asking.
Yeah.
She said she was applying for additional grants. So
Yeah.
perhaps she was looking at that as well.
I move we approve resolution 21-2021 as submitted.
I'll second that.
Council, any additional discussion? Anybody from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Resolution 22-2021, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, approving the issuance of federal, state, or local grant funding. Whereas the State Board of Accounts conducted an audit for the years 2014 to 2017. Whereas at the conclusion of the audit, the State Board of Accounts recommended that all grants applied for and to be received by the city be first reviewed and be subject to the approval of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, before said grant is distributed. Whereas the city has applied for a state grant for tactical urbanism demonstration projects supporting active transportation. Whereas said funds will be used to improve the City of Madison's crosswalks. Improvements include stencils, reflective paint, and possibly lights. Said grant is for $10,000 and requires no match from the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the above grant funding be approved. Duly passed this blank day of March by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, with the standard signatures appended thereto.
Yeah, so this is just another grant we'd like to hopefully build upon, if I'm able to find one, to make the crosswalks just more safe.
Yeah, crosswalk safety is really important. As you know, we are embarking on a lot of infrastructure improvements along Main Street. And we have faded crosswalks or crosswalks, frankly, that don't even exist. So this is all about public safety, and appreciate Delyssa's role in helping us find resources to accomplish that.
And none of the grants, I've not heard back from all three of them, just so you guys know. But I should hear an update in a month with one of them, and then a couple months with one of the others. So.
We'll entertain a motion and a second for approval of this resolution with this grant.
I'll move that we approve resolution 22-2021 as written.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any additional discussion, council? Any comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you.
And are there any reports, recommendations, or other business from standing or select committees of the city council? While you ponder that question, I'll invite Community Relations Director Hannah Fagan over, who's also going to give you a demonstration on our new website. As you know, you need my computer? As you know, we have been investing a lot in technology, both in the Parks Department and for our general website. So I'm going to help her set this up real quick. And we'll give you an overview of our, are you going to do this here?
Yeah, I'm gonna just set up the camera.
What are you doing?
Can I have the camera?
Never know which we're about to use. It's really great when the TVs work. Right, Matt?
Well, maybe.
Perfectly over there.
I know. It's here. And not there. There we go. Don't exit that, just click it. You had it open, you closed it. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Do you need me to do anything here?
No, I'm coming.
Okay. Pressure. Thank you. You're gonna love this new design. It looks fantastic.
All right, that took a little bit of a minute to get that up. Anyways, I have been working on a new website since I started here in City Hall last January. Our website was really difficult to navigate. The company we were working with were not great to work with. They ended up being very costly. So we transitioned very quickly over to a new website, and it seems like it's taken a long time, but it was fairly quickly because they usually take a lot longer to transition over content and whatnot. And our website that we previously had, they were not willing to give us any sort of prorate or anything, so we had to move quickly in trying to get this on board. Anyways, so this is our new website. We partnered with some of our local photographers, as you council members know, because you got to have your headshots taken, as did department heads, so don't worry. So also on the front end, you have some pictures from our local photographer, but right here we have a search bar. You can search anything here. You can search parks. You find movies in the parks, Parks and Recs, Parks Board, park program registration. You can really search anything in there. One thing that I really love with this new site is you have these huge buttons right here. So online bill pay allows you to pay your water bill. We're hopefully transitioning to where we can have permits paid that way and other things. I will note that we are still transitioning over content and fixing up some of the pages just because we think they can be better organized. You can click agendas and minutes and it brings you over here. Hopefully, internet's not the greatest over here, but it brings you to our meeting center, and as you can see, you see agendas over here. There will be a minutes tab. We're still working to upload all that old content. You got Board of Public Works, and then you have all our other boards where you can view meeting dates, you can view agendas and minutes. It just makes it easier for you to find right there on the home page. You can also, this also carries over to this sidebar, so you can even navigate it that way. You can find a phone directory which has all of staff in there, has police department in there. You have city services, you can find out our different city services. City code, this takes you directly to city code, so you can easily search that. And you're not having to jump around the website. That middle search bar, again, helps you not have to jump around the website, but if you do want to explore government, you can pop on over to the mayor's page. And you have a welcome message from the mayor. You have some things in the department. Job opportunities in Madison. Have a document center, and then if you scroll down to this bottom page, and we don't have too much yet, you have these useful links and services. There will also be on there an events tab. So when he has a state of the city address, that will pop up there. And so we really have a lot that we can add here. And one of the better organized pages is actually Nicole's page. She does a really great job with that. So I'm going to click over here just to give you a general idea. So down here you see all the forms, and you can click that and see more forms in her department. You have contact information over here. Some information about the permit center, which pops out, helps people see what kind of permits they need. In this department, any sort of board, planning, preservation, that's all right here. The PACE program's all right here. So I personally believe it's more organized. I also think it's a better look. We have the ability to change out all of these photos to be department specific. We have not gotten that much training on this yet. So as we get that training, we'll start making those changes, but we're still going to keep this clean look and hopefully make it easier for the community to navigate. If you have any questions about the website, always reach out. If you see something that's missing, you can reach out to me about that as well, or if you just are struggling to find something, let me know. I'll show you guys the lovely city council page, since you're all up there. Maybe our website or our internet, again, is really slow. So while we wait for that to possibly load, I'll point out, oh, here we go. So we got, our group photo right here. They can contact, the public has your email addresses and your phone numbers on there, information about agendas, here's meetings, so they can see when meetings happen. Again, hopefully it's just easier for the public to navigate than the previous site. One thing I want to point out with this website is we did save a ton of money. I'm going to grab that out in the long run. So that's what's important. Our previous website, we needed to make some updates and everything. That was going to cost us for 1 year just to make the updates, which is like changing out those photos that we now have the ability to do on our own, is going to be almost $24,000 for that 1 year. The cost for that website, just to host it, was over $5,000 a year at a 5% increase each year. This new website, to launch it, to build it all out, transfer our content, train us all and everything, the upfront cost was $13,790. We have, again, much more ability to do what we would like with this website. And then the annual maintenance and support on it is $3,754, and that is a locked-in price for 5 years. So over time, in the year 2024, if we had launched in 2021, so I guess that would be 2025 now, we would be paying for our previous website. Over that time, we would have paid $67,985 and something cents. With this new website, we're paying over that course of 5 years, $28,806. So it's a huge savings. The support team's easier to deal with, and as you can see, it's more organized, and it's got a cleaner look, in my opinion. It's nice that we can partner with our local photographers and upload those photos, and we can change them. So come Halloween Town, you'll log on, you'll see spiders on City Hall as the image, obviously. But just let me know if you have any questions about it or anything, and I am happy to answer those. And again, if you see any issues, just point those out to me.
And I think I complimented her today on just how fantastic this looks and easier to navigate and much more professional and cleaner looking. And the thing that we really want to focus on too is this is the portal for the community. This is about transparency. So we have 29 boards and committees. Not all of them meet every month. Some of them meet more than once a month. And we wanted to make sure that the community at any point in time could understand what's on the agenda. Not only what is on the agenda, but what is it that we're going to be discussing. So what is the material, the resolutions, the ordinances, contracts, those types of things are really important for the public to be informed about. And I believe also, Hannah, there's a link here to our YouTube page.
There's not a link quite yet. I'm
Okay.
going to zoom out real quick. Sorry, I'm managing 2 roles tonight.
We're going to build out a link here. So all of ours, we transition to our own equipment here in the city council chambers where we're hosting all of our meetings. We created our own City Madison YouTube channel. It's very organized as well. So all of the meetings that we have that are recorded are archived there. They're also streamed live, and then they can also be shared across social media, and then with the recording, they can also be put on any other platform as well, like Channel 15 if we want to. So a lot of progress is being made here. This change, as well as the change with regard to the Parks Department and Rec Desk, are really big leaps forward in technology, using technology as a platform. Matt, I'm not sure if Matt is still here, but just to give him a little props too about Rec Desk, just in the first month of launching Rec Desk, we processed online over 800 transactions online that otherwise would have had to been handled by an individual. So we're already seeing significant efficiencies there throughout the Parks Department and collecting funds and people signing up for different activities and golf tee times and campground reservations and so forth. And we'll continue to migrate toward technology platform that add efficiencies and some economy for the city and for the city residents. Anything else, Hannah? Any questions for Hannah?
Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not. It's organized, very easy to follow. Just subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe to it.
New website looks really good. There were a lot of frustrations with trying to find things on the past website, and I think the website before that, I went to visit at one time, it had been hacked by Syrians during the Syrian Civil War. There's a nice big message in Arabic across it. That was so.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Little Madison. See, Madison stands out all across the world.
Will you, as you get time, will you be uploading like past agendas and things
Yes,
like that?
we will be. We sent those over to the website, and they have like an upload file, and we uploaded them, so they're adding those all in. But we went ahead and archived those before we lost our old website, because they did not archive anything for us. So we ended up pulling everything we could before we launched this and saving it. And so we've been working with the new website to get that all uploaded. You'll also see your new headshots on there very soon, so be ready.
Great. Keep up the good work, Hannah. The good news just keeps continuing tonight. I'd like to invite Deputy Mayor, Chief of Staff Minnie McGee up to give us an update on quite a few things. Again.
Good evening, Council. You all have a written copy of what I'm going to say. I'll try not to read it word for word for you, but wanted you to have it for your records in case you had other questions later. So I do kind of have a lot to talk about tonight. First, I'll put it under the category of streets. We hosted a bid opening last week for what is actually our fall Community Crossings Matching Grant project. That will take place this spring. We received bids from 4 contractors on that. The amounts ranged from $490,000 up to $616,000. So yesterday at the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, The contract was awarded to the lowest bidder, which is Dave O'Meara Contracting. Their bid was $4,968. The next step in terms of this project will be completing all the paperwork with the contractors, with NDOT. We'll get that sent back, get signatures back from NDOT once everything is fully executed and they've requested funds and we've received the funds. We'll go ahead and get a notice to proceed to the contractor. So I am hoping that will be late April, early May for this project. As a reminder, that is from Jefferson Street all the way to the top of Hanover Hill, where it meets 62. And it will not be a mill and fill project. This will be the rejuvenator product that extends the life until we can engage our federal highway fund money to do the full redo on the road. So hopefully timing will work out well on that. And as you can see, we received the full grant was a total of $686,000, of which we matched 50%. So the award is quite a bit lower by about $195,000. We are going to work with NDOT to see if there are things we can add into that. We obviously have to follow a lot of rules about what was included on the application and make sure we stay true to that. But if there are things that we can do in addition that will fall under this, since we have some room, we will try to do that. Also wanted to just tell you that when this project starts, the dry time on this product is not terribly long. So we're going to do it in sections, but they do 2 coats. So we'll have sections of the road closed while they do it. And once it's dry and ready, we'll open that, do the next section. Try not to disrupt traffic too much. Any questions about that project?
I just want to mention that when that's completed, that will total probably about $2 million worth of paving across the community within the last year, which is phenomenal.
As part of this, do we have to address the crosswalks and the ADA?
Yes, anytime we do concrete work, we will put back the ADA ramps. There is some of that included in this product. We may be able to add some more to that based on the difference. And we also are going to sort of test, I would call it a test market, on some of the striping. We may change some of the lane stripings in a small section, just as we start to work with the steering committee on, do we need to change the lane markings, is it the same, slow traffic, calm traffic, whatever we need to do. So we're still working on that final striping plan.
Is there any example of that liquid road anywhere in Jefferson County?
There is, and I can get you the list of it. I actually talked to Bobby Phillips from the county. They have used it on some roads in the county. I'll get that list to you so you can go take a look at it. I also spoke with a city engineer in Columbus, a city engineer for Seymour. I have a list of roads in all those cities that we can go take a look at if you like. They also use it, I believe, on the runway at SDF. So.
Lots of places. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and the goal here is to extend the useful life until we get to the 2026 grant funding for the bigger project.
Okay. Moving on, the spring CCMG project from last year is almost 100% completed. The only work that remains on that is the one block of Baltimore Street off Main that All-Star Paving could not get to because NDOT was in there working last year. We gave them an extension for just that section of road. They went ahead and did the sidewalk and curb work in there, but they needed to get back in and mill and fill. So they're hoping to get in there soon to finish that, and once they do, that project will be complete. We can close that out, and we will be under budget on that as well. Other update is the 8th Street Sidewalk. So that sidewalk is completed. The only thing that remains is the design and work on the fence, the safety fence that's going to go up there. We, as you know, turned that into sort of an art project for public art for the hilltop. The metal has been decided on and ordered, and the art students at Madison Junior High are working on the art. They're going to have samples for us to look at and approve very soon. The mayor and I are going to meet with them, I think, next week to talk to the art students and see what they have in mind for that wall. And then the Madison Cup Manufacturing is working on, they'll work on the fabrication and getting the wall put together so we can get the art put on it. So lots going on there. Can't wait to see what the art students have for us to look at on that.
Is there going to be a big giant cover here? I
don't know.
Eric Fagan is their art teacher, so I'm sure it's going to be something pretty unique and creative.
It'll be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Just wanted to give you a little bit of heads up. It is spring, so we're working on landscaping and beautification stuff. The hanging baskets that we always put on the lampposts, instead of buying the plants new this year and getting them planted and hung early, we started growing those plants over the winter. So those, when they come out to hang in a month or so, will be real close to full summer blooms. So excited to see full hanging baskets when they first go up. And we are working on a landscaping plan for the beds on Main Street, the Riverfront, the city parking lot, and Broadway and Main, that bed there as well. Looking for some more uniform colors, intentional design, something that looks more uniform and easy to keep up. So I just wanted to let you know that we are going to be working on landscaping all over the place and beautification. Also, the golf course, as part of the improvements that we want to make at the golf course, we'll be going out to assess the tee boxes and putting plans together for landscaping for all of those as well. I think that will do it for now. Anybody have questions for me?
You didn't mention the 90 stumps we took out of Sunrise Golf Course.
How many trees and 90 stumps got around?
60 trees and 90 stumps.
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
But when you move those tees, move the senior tees up a little bit.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minnie. Any questions for Minnie? We do not have any bills on third reading or second reading, and so this is also one of my favorite parts of the meeting, which we call the Town Hall Forum. So if there's anybody here in the audience who would like to address the Mayor's Office or City Council, under the public comment section, we'd invite you to the podium now. Okay. Well, another favorite part of the meeting is the Mayor's comment section for me. I usually have lots to say, but I want to keep it to within 30 minutes tonight. First, as you know, we went through some flooding, and I want to congratulate all the collaboration and work with our team across the city. That would be EMA, the Police Department, Fire Department, Street Department, Parks Department. Hope I didn't miss anybody there, but they all worked great together, and within a matter of days cleared off literally tons of mud that had, crept across Vaughn Drive from the flooding. So they did a fantastic job there, and could be prouder of our team and how hard they work. Keep the city of Madison beautiful. It wouldn't be a mayor's minutes here if we didn't talk a little bit about COVID update. So Madison and Jefferson County successfully transitioned to Back to Blue. That was a campaign that we've embarked on basically since last Thanksgiving to work hard to get the community health emergency and the COVID positivity rate down. And so finally last week, after a 2-week continuous measurement period with ISDH, Jefferson County returned to blue. And I think that's fantastic. The overall positivity rate for COVID in Jefferson County now stands at about 2.5%. Statewide is 3.1%. It's dropped dramatically. There's only one county in the entire state that is orange. Every other county, all the other 91 counties are blue or yellow. So definitely heading in the right direction, and appreciate everybody's recognition of what it takes to get there. And the timing of doing that is great because we're heading into festival season. So there have been a lot of event organizers appear in front of Board of Public Works and Safety requesting street closures for the different events that they're having. We are going to have a very, very active festival season, all contingent upon whatever executive order we were operating under at the time. Governor Holcomb's current executive order expires on March the 31st, so by midweek next week we'll probably start seeing some indications on where we're heading with a follow-up to that executive order. But Chautauqua, Riverfest, Music in the Park, Farmers Market, several car shows. A lot of those event organizers have already appeared in front of BPW, and I know that quite a few are also under consideration. So it's great to see our festival season come back. And also coming back will be the visit by the American Queen steamboats. So they have already published a schedule for their 3 ships to dock at our port, beginning in April all the way through probably the end of October. So, you know, everybody who grew up here or is a resident here now, I'm sure have very fond memories of seeing the Delta Queen or the Belle Louisville or any of the number of steamboats adorn our riverfront and cruise from up the Mississippi and the Ohio rivers. And so it's great to see them back too, because not only is it fantastic to have them at our port, but you know, they generally carry hundreds of passengers who are stopping at the Port of Madison and visiting the shops and the restaurants and walking around, seeing our beautiful community, and many of them come back time and time again. So it's fantastic to see them back. Lastly, I'll mention that NDOT will be redeploying. The contractor for the East End Bridge Approach will be redeploying to the site to finish the work there on the bridge approach first week of April. I think everybody will agree it looks beautiful there. The work that's being done, the new gateway approach and monuments recognizing Madison look fantastic. City of Madison's acquiring property there. That will also be a future gateway improvement project. But with NDOT, we're going to be having a meeting with them soon to really understand what this final phase means. We know that it's a top coat of asphalt. We know it's remaining signage. We know that it's crosswalks. But we really want to have a better understanding of what the plan is, because there's a lot of crosswalk improvement that we need to focus on for the east end of Main Street. The directional signs for truck traffic, I did notice that that's already been installed. Hopefully trucks will see the arrow that's pointing to go straight and don't turn left, so that they don't revert back to the old path and go down 2nd Street. That's underway. And we've received quite a few comments about that really nice trash can right in front of the Welcome to Madison monument that they constructed as you come across the bridge. It's a fantastic looking trash can. It goes really, really well with all the light fixtures adorning Harrison Street. But it might be a little misplaced. So I want to thank everybody in the community who's reached out about that trash can placement. We're going to do our best to make sure we get it relocated so that we do not diminish any of the beauty of the gateway feature that has been constructed there as you come across the bridge, heading north on Highway 421. So we love to have all the eyes and ears across the community that we can get, and that one was pretty popular, I might say. But NDOT's always been great to work with, and they have their designers, their architects, their contractors, and then a whole layer of people that are involved in that project. So we're talking to each and every one of them to make sure that we do not settle for anything than best for Madison. So, but it does look great, and everything we invest down there is going to pay dividends. It's already paying dividends. If anybody's trying to buy a house in the city of Madison, particularly downtown recently, you'll know that the housing inventory is virtually non-existent, and prices are up, and all the dilapidated houses that existed a year or two ago are all being bought up and renovated. None have been torn down, just for the record. No houses have been torn down. So it's all everything's going great. Appreciate City Council support and community support. I'll stop there. Happy to answer any questions from you all or from the audience. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And I know it's been a long evening, but these are the fun times.
You had asked about the committees that have, what have they been doing? So
Yeah.
the Riverfront Alcohol Beverage Licensing Committee met yesterday.
Okay.
And they reviewed liquor licenses for Crafton Brothers Coffee, as well as the Rivertown Grill, and they will be coming before City Council at the next meeting.
Great. 2 restaurants downtown who will be beneficiaries of the Riverfront Development District licensing award process. So council will get a chance to see those applications, so will the community next time. And that'll be on April the 6th. Anybody else, anything? Want to welcome everybody, or thank everybody who attended tonight. And State Rep Payne, thank you for making Madison your, you'll never forget your first resolution, right? Council?
I move to adjourn.
One second.